I want you to hear something tonight with clarity and passion. There are souls walking around oblivious to what you're worth. They don't see what you carry. Many who tread beside you will one day wake up in regret, their hearts gripped by the aching knowledge that they cast aside something precious. You carry value not measured by applause or social media likes, but measured by the eternal worth God has placed upon your soul. And one day those superficial voices will echo hollow where once they mattered, because what you are at your core is not built by the fleeting approval of human arms. You were forged by a purposeful maker. The heartbreak of being dismissed, neglected, taken for granted, they burn because their wounds carved by near blind eyes. But let me tell you, those wounds bear witness to something holy in you. Each tear you've shed, each disappointment, they point back to something sacred, your value. And when the world strokes its ego, puffing itself on illusions, you will realize you were not meant for shallow praise. You were made for something far deeper. I hear your doubts. I hear you ask, who am I? What good am I when they treat me like an afterthought? Listen, your identity is not in them. Your identity is in the author of life, the one before whom angels veil their faces. And that one has painted you with divine care, with gifts hidden in plain sight. So even though they sinfully dismiss you, reject you, or misunderstand you, it will ache them one day, it will haunt them, and that haunting is not vanity, it's the echo of what once could have been sanctified. Are you willing to believe that what they lacked in seeing was not your fault, but their blindness? They walked by you like you were ordinary, but there is no ordinary in the hands of God. You were designed for compassion that costs, for love that breaks the world's pattern, for courage that forces nations to tremble. You were made to be a plumb line, setting hearts upright, confronting injustice, weeping over lost souls. So when they choose dismissal over depth, convenience over conviction, comfort over confrontation, you will walk on. You will lift up your eyes and say, I will no longer allow you to diminish the gift I am. In that very moment, what they choose to resist will shame them. They will regret it, because you do not retreat into darkness. You step forward, lit by the fire of Christ, blazing with the good you bear. Let me press in. Don't waste the ache of being overlooked. Let it be your altar. Let every quiet resignation become a roar within. I am not ordinary. I am not disposable. I am not defined by your indifference. Let those words rise like incense from the ashes of rejection, because you carry a gospel worth more than 1,000 praises. You carry hope that outlasts kingdoms. At times, people will treat you like a footnote. They will assume you're replaceable. They may flatter others while hoping you'll vanish. But this world is not the final chapter. The pages you write now, not on Instagram or in memes, but in the grind of your integrity, in the sweat of your obedience, they echo into eternity. They tremble through halls where kings and prophets stand. They matter more than you'll know until glory dawns. Remember that the scorn of men is fleeting. When they kneel one day in the dust, you'll stand firm. They'll taste the bitter fruit of their refusal. And you, what you held onto in silence, what you fought for in solitude, will light up the darkness. They will regret losing you, but you will not despair. You will stand, because your confidence is not in them, but in the mercy that saved you, clothed you, and sent you on mission. You carry a fire that does not need validation to burn. You mark each day with latent power. You have within you a capacity to love beyond what they can handle, to hold firm when hope flees, to speak truth when fad chasers sing lies. And God is raising such ones whose souls refuse to shrink just because the world pushes in. So here's what must happen. You must believe with unmovable clarity. The pain of being overlooked is not a title you bear. You are not a victim of their ignorance. You are a vessel of grace, and when they turn back, when regret claws at their spirit, they don't crush you, They confirm your calling. They fuel the fire in your bones to run harder, love deeper, press further. I'm not telling you to walk in bitterness, far from it. Don't let your heart darken with revenge. Let it be healed by the very love you refuse to quit. Let your response be holiness that shames their cowardice. Let your quiet forgiveness, your still obedience, your faith, these things will speak louder than any clap, and those who spurn you will tremble, realizing too late that what they threw away was treasure. You imagine they'll regret it, sure, but oh, friend, let us pray that your regret will not be to envy theirs, that you'll stand released from bitterness and cling to what matters. That you'll say every day, may I not become the one who fails to see another's worth. May I not be the one who suppresses what may change a ruinous world. That's the call. That's the weight upon your soul. What's more, being overlooked gives you clarity. It lets you discern the core from the collapse. Those who clap for noise will drop away. Those who feel the tremor of the gospel will dig in. Don't plead for applause from two-bit fans. Pursue holiness. Build your soul on obedience, because in the day when all else fades, obedience remains. Make this your soul's anthem. If they fail to see me, I still stand before my King. If they choose distraction over depth, I choose faithfulness over fame. If they move on, I remain anchored. And when they do, when regret sets in, they may cloak it in pride or shame, but it will eat them alive, and Jesus will hold your heart steady while they roam the ruins they made of what they ignored. Your mission is not dependent on their sight. Your mission is tethered to one who sees, knows, and loves utterly. So rise, grow, invest your gifts in the suffering, pour your love into the unseen, sharpen your conscience on the word, do it in quiet, and let your life be a lighthouse. And when the world turns cold, they will wonder how you burned bright without their gasoline, without their validation. This is your moment to press into what truly matters. Not applause, not popularity, not convenience, but obedience, love, sacrifice. The world will churn, friendships will die, you may bleed with grief, but keep going. Turn your gaze upward, not backward with bitterness. Let the one who made you be your reward, because one day they will regret losing you. Their lives will echo with longing for what they could have had, depth that shakes mountains, a faith that stays when tribunals and crowds desert, a love that doesn't shrink. They'll know that what they discarded was precious. But by then, your eyes will be fixed beyond their regret, on the one who called you worthy, who sees the tear you shed for the lost, who holds you when they let go. Even if others overlook, dismiss, or reject you, it doesn't diminish your purpose. Their blindness doesn't change your identity or the divine weight you carry. You are made for more than the shallow praise or temporary approval of people. Let their regret serve not as your validation, but as evidence of your faithfulness. Stay grounded in love, truth, and purpose, even when you're unseen, because your reward is not in them, but in the one who sees everything. Your worth is not determined by those who fail to see it. Your value is anchored in God's design, calling, and presence in your life. You need to understand this not just intellectually, but deep within the marrow of your bones, because the world, in all its noise and blindness, will do everything it can to convince you otherwise. People will pass by you, some will use you, others will ignore you. Many will misinterpret you, label you, overlook you, and even mock you. And if you're not rooted in the truth of who you are in God's eyes, you'll begin to bend beneath the weight of their ignorance. You'll question yourself. You'll start defining your worth by their reaction, or worse, their rejection. But hear me now. What they see or fail to see does not alter who you are. Their blindness doesn't rewrite the truth. You are not here by accident. You are not some product of random events stitched together by time and chance. You were knit together in your mother's womb by the hand of the Almighty. Before anyone knew your name, God called you his own. Before any voice praised or condemned you, he already declared you fearfully and wonderfully made. Before you performed, before you proved, before you even understood your own breath, he knew you. He crafted you with intention, with purpose, and with glory. That means no failure, no betrayal, no rejection, no abandonment can strip you of the value he has placed upon you. And yet, so many of us live like beggars in the kingdom. We walk around starving for affection, for validation, for someone, anyone, to see us, to notice, to affirm. We bend, twist, and compromise just for a glimpse of approval. We chase applause as if it could satisfy our soul. But what a tragedy it is when the people of God forget the voice that matters most. What a tragedy when sons and daughters of the King allow the whispers of broken people to become louder than the call of God. You are not what they said about you. You are not the sum of their indifference. You are not defined by the one who ghosted you, rejected you, forgot you, or replaced you. Their failure to recognize your value is not a reflection of your lack, but of their inability to see, and blindness in them should never lead to insecurity in you. Their limited perception should never redefine your eternal worth. We must return to the truth of who we are, not just because it comforts us, but because it protects us. You see, when you do not know your worth, you will settle for anything. You'll stay in toxic relationships. You'll cling to false friendships. You'll compromise your convictions just to be accepted. You'll trade truth for popularity and holiness for approval, all because you forgot what was already spoken over you. You are chosen, beloved, set apart. When your identity is tethered to people, your peace becomes fragile. But when your identity is anchored in God's design, it becomes immovable. You can be rejected, but not ruined. You can be forgotten by man, but not forsaken by God. You can be unseen in the eyes of the crowd, but still be standing in the center of God's will. That is what it means to have a value that transcends this world. Think of Jesus. The very Son of God walked this earth and was misunderstood, rejected, betrayed. The masses praised him one moment and demanded his crucifixion the next. Even his closest friends abandoned him when it mattered most. Was his worth any less because of their betrayal? Did the silence of the crowd diminish the weight of his mission? No, because he knew who he was. He didn't come for applause. He came for obedience. He didn't need validation from man because he lived for the will of his Father. And if you are to walk in his footsteps, you must come to the same conclusion. You do not need them to see you. You do not need them to choose you. You do not need their applause to be powerful. Their opinions are sand, let them fall. You were built on the rock, let the winds come. Let the storms rage. What God has spoken over you is not up for negotiation. There are people who have walked out of your life thinking they left behind someone ordinary. There are those who treated you like an option, a convenience, a placeholder. They will come to learn that what they dismissed was rare. Not because you seek revenge or vengeance or pride, but because the hand of God is upon you, because you were never meant to be someone's second thought. You were made for more than shallow love and empty praise. But the truth is, many won't recognize value until it's gone. They won't appreciate the light until darkness surrounds them. They won't feel the weight of your presence until your absence becomes undeniable. But don't let their realization become your source of worth. Let your source be deeper. Let it be eternal. Let it be the quiet, unshakable truth that God himself has placed his image upon you. Do not despise the season where you are unseen. The hidden seasons are often the holiest. It is in the shadows that God refines us. It is in the silence that he speaks most clearly. It is when we are overlooked that we learn to look only to him. And what he teaches in the dark will one day shine in the light. So don't rush to be recognized. Be faithful, be humble, be rooted. Your worth is not proven by how many see you, but by how well you obey the one who does. You were not created for temporary admiration. You were created for eternal impact. That kind of weight, that kind of calling, is not always immediately visible. Diamonds are formed in pressure, gold is refined in fire, and so too, your value is being revealed through trial and rejection and testing. When others leave, when opportunities fall apart, when applause fades, what remains? Your calling, your worth, the presence of God. God did not make you to be overlooked, even if you are. He did not form you in His image so that you would be forever tied to the blind opinions of the crowd. He made you to reflect Him, and He is not forgotten. He is not ignored. He is not ordinary, and neither are you. So stop apologizing for your presence. Stop diminishing yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Stop shrinking your light because others are uncomfortable with your brightness. You were not made to be small. You were not made to hide. You were made to shine, not for your glory, but for His. And yes, there will be those who do not recognize the light. Some are so accustomed to darkness, the light offends them. Others are too consumed with their own reflection to see anyone else clearly. But still you shine, still you love, still you walk with integrity, with truth, with faithfulness. Because at the end of the day, it is not about being seen by them. It is about being known by Him, and He sees you in your quiet obedience, in your hidden service, in your unnoticed sacrifice. He sees you, and He delights in you. That is your worth, not the job title, not the followers, not the compliments. Your worth is in being known and loved by the one who made you, and no one can take that away. Not the one who rejected you, not the one who replaced you, not the one who forgot you. So walk with confidence, not because everyone claps, but because God has called you. Walk with peace, not because everyone understands, but because God is with you. Walk with hope, not because the path is easy, but because the one who leads you is faithful. And when the voices rise up to tell you that you are not enough, when the silence of others tries to convince you that you are invisible, remember this: God never takes His eyes off you. His attention has never wavered. His love has never grown cold. His purpose for you has never been derailed by their decisions. You are not forgotten. You are not discarded. You are not irrelevant. You are a vessel, a testimony, a living proof that God still raises the overlooked, that He still chooses the broken, that He still works through the willing. Do not let their failure to see you cause you to fail to see yourself. You are not small in God's eyes. You are not unseen in His kingdom. You are not unloved in His family. And that is the truth that must anchor you when every other voice goes silent, because your value is not a matter of opinion. It is a matter of truth. It is not determined by circumstances. It is rooted in eternity. And when that becomes real to you, when that truth moves from your head to your heart, everything changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You love differently. You stop performing. You stop begging. You stop proving. And you start simply being who He made you to be, with no shame, no fear, no pretense, and in that there is freedom. Not because they finally noticed, not because they finally came back, but because you finally stood firm in what was always true. You are valuable, you are chosen, you are seen, you are loved, you are His. Their eventual regret will only confirm what was true all along. You were never ordinary, and your quiet obedience and unwavering integrity will speak louder than their absence. That is not a bitter statement. It's not a cry for attention or an arrogant defense. It is simply truth, truth rooted not in pride, but in the eternal reality of who you are when you walk in the will of God. In this life, people will leave. They will misjudge. They will ignore and even mock what they don't understand. But what they do not recognize now they will one day remember, and that memory will be laced with regret. You must understand something. When you walk in obedience, when you pursue righteousness not for show, but for the sake of honoring your Maker, the world may not take notice. The crowd is easily captivated by flash and noise, but rarely does it appreciate the still, quiet resolve of a faithful heart. You were never made to compete with the noise. You were made to stand firm when all else shakes. You were made to remain when others run, and yes, that kind of life doesn't often draw applause. It doesn't always earn you invitations, followers, or recognition, but it carries weight, the kind of weight that outlasts trends, outlives opinions, and overcomes betrayal. One of the deepest wounds a person can feel is not just to be left, but to be left as if they never mattered. You poured out, you stayed when others fled, you spoke truth when it was unpopular, you were loyal when it cost you. And for all that, you were overlooked, maybe even treated like a problem, an inconvenience, or a burden. But mark this, your presence was never ordinary, and your departure will make that painfully clear. Not because you seek to punish, not because you hope for their ruin, but because light always leaves a void when it's taken for granted. The world calls loud people powerful, but heaven calls faithful people holy. You were not created to impress crowds. You were created to reflect the character of Christ, and he, too, was misunderstood, betrayed, and crucified, not for failing, but for being faithful. And yet, after the noise died down, after the cross was buried and the tomb sealed, his absence shook the world. And your absence, when you are removed from places that did not value you, when you step out of relationships that dishonored you, when you no longer give your presence to those who took it for granted, it speaks. Loudly, profoundly, it is a sermon all its own. People often don't notice the lamp until the room goes dark. They don't feel the absence of warmth until the fire is gone. They don't appreciate the silence until the voice of truth no longer speaks. And one day, those who dismissed you, those who laughed while you wept, who mocked your convictions, who belittled your purpose, they will feel that loss. But by then, your assignment will have moved forward. You won't be standing there waiting for their apology. You won't be begging to be reinvited, because God will have led you into deeper waters, into greater purpose, into the very life they never believed in. You don't have to prove your worth to people who were never qualified to judge it. Your life is not on trial in the court of human opinion. Your value is measured by the scars of a Savior who chose you before the world knew your name. And that value cannot be diminished by rejection or obscured by silence. You are not defined by who walked away. You are defined by who stayed, and God, the one who called you, never left. So while their regret echoes through the chambers of their memory, your peace will remain steady. Not because they came back to validate you, but because the Lord already did. This is the part they'll never tell you, that it haunts them. The moment they realized they had something sacred in their midst and walked away from it. They'll feel it when shallow connections can't replace the depth you carried. They'll feel it when surface-level friends offer empty words in moments that required truth, conviction, and loyalty. They'll feel it in the silence, when they realize the one person who told them the hard truth, who stayed when it was hard, who loved when it was inconvenient, is no longer there. But let that not move your heart to bitterness. Don't live hoping they regret it. Live proving that God redeems it. Your life is not to be anchored in the memory of their failure, but in the mercy of His faithfulness. Your integrity, quiet, unseen, and often unthanked, has not been wasted. God saw it. He sees every time you refused to compromise, every time you chose love when anger was easier, every time you held your tongue when vengeance whispered your name. That kind of obedience, the quiet, consistent, sacrificial kind, is not lost in the kingdom. It is building something eternal. While others are stacking sandcastles of reputation, you are building a life on the rock. And when the tide comes in, and it will, their platforms will collapse, but your faith will still be standing. Then they'll remember, then they'll look back, then regret will whisper, you had something priceless, and you didn't know it. But your story doesn't end with their realization. It moves forward, with or without them. God didn't call you to circle around those who left. He called you to follow Him, and He wastes nothing, not even rejection. He uses it. He purifies your motives with it. He strengthens your heart through it. He deepens your intimacy with Him because of it. So while they regret, you'll grow. While they mourn what they lost, you'll rise in what you've gained. Do not mistake obscurity for absence. Some of the most powerful people in the kingdom are not the ones with microphones or platforms, but the ones who quietly walk in integrity when no one is watching, the ones who hold to their convictions in a room full of compromise, the ones who love deeply even when they are forgotten. That's you, and the world may not notice now, but the world will feel it when you're no longer there. Some people only learn to value what they've lost. It's a tragedy, but it's real, and even then, their regret is not your burden to carry. You don't exist to teach them a lesson. You exist to fulfill a mission. Your life is not a cautionary tale for others to learn from. It's a holy calling for you to walk out. So if they regret, let them, but don't stop moving. Don't look back. Don't return to places that only celebrated a diluted version of you. Walk in the fullness of who you are, called, chosen, faithful. There is strength in restraint, power in silence, authority in consistency. You don't have to shout to make an impact. You don't have to prove anything to those who failed to see, because what speaks loudest is not noise, it's fruit. Let your life bear fruit. Let your obedience speak louder than any words. Let your joy testify to the one who never left. Let your peace be a declaration that you were never ordinary. They'll see it in time. They'll recognize it in the outcomes, in the clarity you carry, in the purpose that becomes undeniable. But even then, don't let their realization sway you, because you were never trying to be seen by them. You were living for one greater, and He saw you every step of the way. When others fold, you will stand. When others shift, you will remain. When others forget, you will still remember who you are. You are not made to chase people. You are made to chase righteousness. You are not made to cling to approval. You are made to cling to the cross, and the cross is where value is defined once and for all. So don't confuse their silence with your insignificance. Don't confuse their absence with God's abandonment. Their walking away was not a verdict on your worth. It was a mirror to their own blindness. And one day, when the fog lifts, when the emotions fade, when the truth settles, they will regret. Not because you were vindictive, but because you were real, because you were steady, because you were rare, and by then you won't be waiting around for that apology. You'll be too busy building, growing, praying, serving, loving. You'll be too deep in purpose to be concerned with people who once didn't see it. And that is your power, not to hold grudges, but to walk in grace, not to punish them with silence, but to bless them by moving on. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you chosen. That's what makes your absence speak so loudly, because you didn't need to curse them. You just needed to be gone. This world doesn't always recognize the things that matter most. But heaven does, and while others regret, heaven rejoices. While others look back, heaven calls you forward. So lift your head, fix your eyes, keep your hands to the plow. The work is not finished. The story is not over. And your impact, your legacy, it will not be measured by who clapped, but by who called, because your quiet obedience was never wasted. Your unwavering integrity was never ignored. It all mattered. It still matters. It always will.